Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our round 3 Mind Over Matter Mental Health and Wellness Back to School Pep Rally. At this time, we're going to have an introduction with some music, and then we're going to jump in with a welcome and occasion, scripture and prayer, and introductions of our first quarter panelists.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Y'all ready for this? I like to move it. 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 Give it up. Welcome to the big
All right. Thank you. I am Charmin, Simien, and I'm coming to you live from GMZ. And we would like to welcome you to our Mind Over Matter Pep Rally. This is a back to school pep rally geared for the students, teachers, administrators, just the education community, to let them know that we are in this thing together as we get ready to start our 2020-2021 school year. And so I would like to welcome everybody in tonight and hope that you will enjoy this pep rally. I don't know about y'all, but when I was in high school, I was a cheerleader and I loved getting pumped up for those football games. And so the purpose of a pep rally is to pump the spirit up and stir that atmosphere. So tonight, that's what we're geared to do. We have a wonderful group of panelists here. I call them my dream team, and they're my round 3 panelists, and we're looking forward to an awesome time. The occasion, again, is to welcome the students in, the teachers and the staff, so that everyone can understand we're in this together and we're going to have a successful school year. With that being said, we're going to jump off with our scripture, which is the theme scripture for Mind Over Matter, Mental Health and Wellness, and a prayer, and then we will get right into the introduction for our panelists.
Hi, I'm Alexis Roan, and I am so privileged to be able to do the scripture and prayer today, and to also, just as a moment of pride, say, you know, Charmin Simien is my cousin. Her grandmother and my grandfather were brother and sister, and we are doing the legacy proud. I believe they look down on us, Charmin, and they are pleased with the way we represent for the Woodard clan, George and Tina's kids. All right, here we go. The scripture for Mind Over Matter is Jeremiah 29:11. And it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." Let us pray. With gratitude, eternal God, for the way that you do all things well. The psalm writer says, "Those who know your name trust in you, for you will not abandon those who search for you." We search for you, Jehovah Shammah. You are the Lord who is present, who goes ahead of us. You are there already. We search for you, Emmanuel. You are God who is with us always, and that's not a little thing. We search for you, Jehovah Shalom. You are the Lord is peace, not chaos or condemnation. We search for you, Jehovah Jireh. You are the Lord who will provide resources, wisdom, insight. We search for you, Jehovah Sabaoth. You are sovereign above every power in heaven and earth. We anchor our lots to you, and for that reason, we know we are safe. Go ahead of us, be with us. We give you thanks in advance. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Alexis, for that awesome prayer, scripture and prayer. And I do want to back up and say that we do have 2 wonderful cheer teams that have volunteered, worked hard, and put together some cheers and routines, and they're going to be viewed online. They couldn't be here in person. So we're going to first hear from our Swinney junior high cheerleaders all the way from Swinney, Texas. Whoop, whoop, whoop. As we're preparing to watch their video, we want all of the viewing audience to know that if you have a question or comment that you would like to drop in the chat section, please feel free to do so. Let's keep this pep rally live and interactive and fun so that we can just promote and pump up the spirit as we get ready for the new school year. And we will try to address each question that comes in or address the questions that are coming in as we can. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is our Swinney Swinney junior high cheerleaders. No volume. Those young ladies have worked hard. They have put in and went to camp, and they got some great accolades from their camp. I thank them for participating. I apologize that their volume wasn't there, but they did a great job with their cheers. They were excited to be a part of this panel tonight, and we are looking forward to hearing from them again. They will have a dance that they will be performing for us a little bit later on. Okay, next up, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and introduce our first quarter panelist. And we're going to start off with Dr. Hill from Swinney Independent School District. He is our superintendent.
Good.
Welcome, Dr. Hill.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here tonight. I'm the superintendent of Swinney ISD, and I'm looking forward to celebrating this back to school pep rally. So happy to be here tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. Next up, we have counselor, psychologist, Deidre Lemon Frazier.
Hey, you guys. Thank you for having me. I am Dr. Frazier. I am a licensed psychologist in Lake Jackson. I'm also a school psychologist as well before I was a licensed psychologist. So it's very, very good to be a part of this pep rally, to celebrate back to school. And I just want to say, thank you, Charmin, for having me and inviting me on the panel. I've known Charmin pretty much all my life. She's kind of like a sister to me. And one thing that I have to say about Charmin that's always remained the same, that woman knows she has some spirit. she knows she has some spirit. Yes, she do, honey. And she has never lost it. And that's just one of the things that's beautiful about her. She has such passion. And I'm just really looking forward to being a part of this with you guys.
Thank you so much. Next, we have our Swinney High School teacher, Christy Wesley.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Of course, anything to help my lifelong bestie, Charmin. Proud of you for all you're doing and what you're promoting and always being positive. Starting my 26th year of teaching, different than I've ever seen it, but still just as excited as if it was year one. So we're looking forward to a great year and looking forward to enjoying this evening with our discussion. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Miss Wesley. Our last first quarter panelist is Minister Lula Griggs. Not yet. You're not gonna play. All right, we're working out some technical difficulties as we're getting ready to bring Minister Lula Griggs in. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and jump in to our first round of questions so we don't delay any time. And we're going to start off with you, Dr. Hill. Our first question tonight says, what are some suggestions to help educators and school staff recognize and address the increased levels of stress and anxiety, as well as the new school, as the new school year begins, so that they are functioning well and they're for the students and families?
Thank you for that question. The first thing I'll say is that we've got to recognize that this is different for everyone. This is a new experience for our students, for our staff, for our parents, for our community. And as we embark on the new school year, it's important to recognize that each of our students will bring a backpack of things with them. And so it's important to make sure that we think about those social and emotional needs and making sure that we continue to meet those needs.
Yes.
And recognize those fears and anxieties early on, build relationships with them, and also connect with their parents as well to be able to support them throughout. And so everyone's going to have unique needs.
Yes.
It's important that we identify those early and connect with students to be able to support them through this process.
Awesome. Thank you. Dr. Frazier, do you have anything that you would like to piggyback on that for the students, parents, and the teachers?
Yes, sure. And again, I think that's an awesome question. One of the things that I think we should consider as we're dealing with this unprecedented time is that we all just kind of need to be kind to ourselves.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that is because some of us are doubting some of the decisions that we have to make, like should I do virtual? Should I do back to school? Like you can't control, what's going on and what's happening. And you're just trying to make the best decision, for you and for your family. A lot of times we're comparing ourselves to like what other people are doing, and we're doubting the decisions that we're making. But we really need to be kind to ourselves and understand that, we're all, facing these times together. And we're all just trying to, kind of make the best decisions again that we can do. So just, kind of give yourself a break sometimes. It's not going to be perfect. Things are not going to be perfect. Just give yourself a break and we'll all get through this together.
Exactly. That's one of the things that I want the viewer audience to understand is that we are in this together. From the superintendent to the educators, to the students, to our faculty, all the faculty staff, and the community. This is something that takes a joint effort from everybody. And if each one of us do our part, then we're going to push that successful school year all the way through. I know as a teacher myself, it is a little scary moving into a new school year with a pandemic. And so we just want to make sure that everybody's doing their part to keep everything safe and making sure that we are respecting one another. And definitely one of the things that I want to share with the students is if you are experiencing anything, any type of feeling or emotion that has you questioning yourself, speak up and speak out. Don't sit and not say anything. Talk to someone, because a closed mouth will not get fed. So you got to be willing to speak up and speak out. Okay. Second question coming for you, Dr. Hill. How can parents best support their children's How can parents best support their children's teachers during this educational transition?
Yes, again, this is so new and different. I think the first and most important thing is to establish routines. We recognize that, there are going to be some students who will come in person. There will be others who will choose virtual, and 65% are coming in person. The rest are choosing virtual. But it's important to establish routines, daily routines. And that doesn't mean being on the computer all day, because we know that there are ill effects of that as well.
Yes.
But establishing a daily routine is number one. The other thing I would say, it's important for families to sign up for notifications. Get that information from teachers. Make sure that you're logged into whatever the learning management system is, so that the students get the notifications as well as the parents. We all need to make sure that we're signed up for those. Third thing I'd say is maintain a sense of balance. Make sure that you're engaged in extracurricular activities that get you out and about, moving, exercising, because we all have to maintain a sense of balance throughout this pandemic.
Yes, thank you for those answers. The great information. Miss Wesley, as a teacher, how would you like for parents to support you?
Patience, patience for sure. You know, and we will most definitely be showing that in return. We understand there's going to be technical problems. We just, you know, you have a little one tonight. When you're dealing with technology, you just don't know. But just know we're doing our best. Your children are our number one priority, and we want to give them the best education possible in any situation, whether it's from home, whether it's in the classroom. We're just forced at this point to do things a little different. So with that, we adjust our methods, but we don't adjust our heart. Our heart is the same. And we want the best. So keep that in your mind on the days you feel frustrated, because we have them too, for sure. And today, in the midst of frustration, my team and I, we just laughed because we just shook our head and laughed, you know, like, okay, well, tomorrow at 8:00, we'll start again, and maybe it'll be better tomorrow, and we'll get it done. But this back and forth support will always be the best answer. So
yes, I love that. Thank you. Patience is a virtue. And one of the things that everybody has to understand is we all get a little impatient. And so with the pandemic in its height, and with just everything else stemming around within the nation, we have to, as Dr. Frazier said, make sure we're kind to ourselves. Make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And one of the things that I love is that the students are pretty tech savvy. They have, I mean, they're born coming in swiping at about 3 to 6 months. They can take their little fingers and swipe. So being able to see the teachers virtually, even though we're not being able to have the interaction at the start, is going to be a good thing. And I'm going to speak from experience. Last spring, when we had to do the quick transition to virtual training, before we got into the Zoom method, my students were a little bit down. So I made sure I kept in contact with them. And then once we learned the Zoom trick or Zoom app, it just picked up their countenance. And one of the things that I like what you said, Dr. Hill, a little earlier, is that you need to make sure you're getting out of the house, staying active. That's what I told my students. I said, don't sit in the house. Just because they mandated an order and a curfew doesn't mean you can't get outside your house. Get outside, walk around your house, get some natural vitamin D, get that sunlight so that it can hit on you and just stimulate your hormones, and just keep in touch with one another. That's the one thing I would share with them. I said, just because we're not in school, we've got the Zoom platform, you can still Zoom in and see each other and talk to each other. So it makes a huge difference. So I'm excited about that. And I would like to welcome to the stage Minister Lula Griggs.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm glad to be a part of this broadcast that Sister Sherman is doing. I appreciate and thank God for it, that He invited me to be a part. I am Minister Lula Griggs, founder of the Women of Destiny Ministry in Missouri, Texas. Also, I'm a member of In God's Care Community Church, where my husband is the pastor. And I'm a former leopard. Don't you see Bama Lake on me? And I wear well. Hey, go leopards. Woo-hoo! So
I was kidding around with cousin earlier. And I told one of my friends from Sweeney didn't realize that I started out as a kitten, as a Bamblek kitten. And I was like, yeah. And I said, you know what? I think if you cut me, I'll bleed kitten and bulldog blood. I just think that could happen. But anyway, I love them. They're both near and dear to my heart. I graduated from Sweeney, and so I'm just excited. We're going to move in. And Minister Griggs, with you joining us, I had the opportunity to sit under Pastor and Minister Lula Griggs' leadership for several years, and they mentored my family and my daughters sit under Minister Griggs' leadership as a youth leader. Can you tell them your method or your approach that you use to reach the youth?
Uh, I love the youth. I have a heart for the youth. So therefore, when God put me in that position, I used it till the time that He wanted me to. I learned from the youth that there's a lot of things that they deal with. They deal with peer pressure. They deal with resentment, rejection. They deal with suicidal thoughts. They deal with uh, being bullied by those that bully them, and still teaching our youth. I give them encouragement, and I'm telling you, and they tell me, Miss Griggs, I get lonely. And I'm like, you get lonely? Yeah, I get lonely. I don't have friends. I say, well, I tell you what, when you get lonely, remember that God is the company keeper.
Yes.
He'll keep you company when you get lonely, but you got to look to Him for everything. Everybody's not going to accept you as their friend. Everybody's not going to grabs you and say, I love you. People use you for what you do for them, but also they'll reject you for when you stop doing it for them. And also I say, don't let nobody bully you. I say, you see me, I never let nobody bully me at school. And I always tell them, you don't have to let nobody bully you. You don't let people speak into your life and tell you what you are when you know who you are, who you is. And that was a thing that they had to deal with. There are times they couldn't even talk to their own parents. And that was something when they couldn't open up. I say, well, when you can't talk to the parents, what you do, write a letter, put it in an envelope, give it to your
Yeah.
mom or your dad, whoever it is. And when you give it to them, they're going to read it. And sometimes parents don't know what they're doing to their kids. I
Yes.
remember me and Pastor Griggs, we get on our kids and we get on them. But one day we have family meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the T days. We'll sit down and we'll talk to our kids. But there's something our kids learn me. Mom and Dad, if y'all be quiet and listen to what we'll say, then you'll understand. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cutting me. But they wanted me to listen.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so when I begin to sit there and listen to the whole conversation, because there are times I jump in the not even the middle of the conversation, at the beginning of the conversation. But
Yeah.
Mama, you got to listen. So therefore, I teaches other kids because mine's corrected me. I
Yes.
have to listen to them. We don't know what our kids going through. We don't know what they're dealing with. They've been broken, they've been battered, and they've been bruised, and they need a healing some kind of way in the inside.
Yeah.
So that's how I do to the kids, and I speak life into them. Me and Pastor Grizz tried to get down to their level
Yes. Thank
and
you.
see
I'm
where they
sorry.
was hurting at. They was hurted
Yeah.
because they did some things in school. They had to accept the crowd to be a part of the crowd, so the crowd won't get after them. I taught Bambalake school students. I taught Swinney. Those was my two major schools that when they came to church that they set up under me and we taught. I got to their level and they opened up. And there are some things I say, well, I won't tell because they were scared to open up.
Yes.
And one thing I found about kids, if a parent coming around and you talking to them, they're gonna shut down.
Yes.
There's so
Yes.
much going on in the house. I was subbing at this school last year, and there are kids that was dealing with so much stuff, and it brought tears to my eyes. So what I did, I stood up in the middle class, didn't care if I get fired because I was a sub anyway, and I told them that God loved them, and they loved that. So I
Yeah.
mean, what I'm gonna retire. I was just doing something on the side, and I'm sorry to say that on your live, but what they could
Keep
do.
it real. Keep it real.
By me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they wanted me to sing. I sing to them. Miss Grizz, could you preach to us today? I preached to them today. And then I heard they told the school I was the number one sub. Get her back. So, but
Uh,
what I am saying, there are kids dealing with drugs and they need somebody to talk to.
yes.
There are kids dealing with suicidal thoughts because of what's going on in their household.
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, when mom ain't got time for them.
Yes.
He too busy trying to make the extra money dad ain't doing because the money he making he's spending up on drugs. You say be real. But
Yeah.
kids are dealing with some stuff and I learned that in school and I learned it not only in school, other places. It's so much stuff they are dealing with. But
Yeah.
one thing about it, when I got to speaking to them and tell them, the last thing I told them about was God. Yeah, look to the hills which come at your help coming from God. When you get lonely, remember God is a company keeper. When you friendless, he's a friend that'll stick close to you than a brother. When you're burdened, he'll lift your burden. You
Yes,
need
he
somebody
will.
to talk to you, he'll sit there and talk to him. But one thing about it, after I talked to him, I offered him Jesus, and it helped him on the way. So thank
Thank
you.
you so much. I just got to say amen. Can I get an
Oh,
amen?
Amen. Amen.
amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Again, my kids had an opportunity to sit under them, and I loved what they did for them. And so, thank you so much for being a part. I know that you can't stay long because you have something else
Okay.
that you got to
Hmm.
get to tonight. So, again, thank you so much,
No
Dr.
problem.
Hill. I have another question for you. This question says, during the virtual learning phase, what are the benefits of small learning pods within extended families and or neighborhoods with kids in the same grade who are already often around each other often? I'm sorry.
Good question. Right now, I think we all need to have a support system around us. And so I highly recommend and encourage those smaller learning communities,
Yes.
learning pods. I think it could be beneficial for students to hold each other accountable, but it could be good to just have a social interaction with others. We're so isolated right now with social distancing and all of those pieces. So it's so important, which is also why we're promoting extracurricular involvement in our school district right now too, because our kids need that outlet. We need to do so, however, though, with safety within the safety guidelines and following safety precautions. But the other benefit to that is, there's also benefit to students helping each other. You can have
Yes, it is.
older students tutoring younger students,
Yes.
and so there's lots of benefits. And I think it definitely would be beneficial for students to engage in those smaller pods, especially during these first couple weeks of virtual learning.
Yes, thank you so much. Make sure, students, that you following the protocol with the social distancing, wearing the mask. Just because you're at home virtually and you're used to being around your friends or peers, you still have to wear that mask to keep yourself protected, practice safe social distancing. If you take a break and get you something to eat, wash those hands or sanitize those hands. Do the necessary things to keep yourself safe. Okay, thank you, Dr. Hill, for that. Miss Wesley, how many years have you been teaching, and what is keeping that passion there?
Starting my 26th year.
Woo-hoo! Wait a minute, I think that just says a woo!
And I'd say, and I've taught first grade, and then I taught junior high and coached volleyball and track, and then the rest of my years in high school. So 22 years of secondary. And the biggest thing for sure would be relationships, relationships with my coworkers, relationships with the community, and most importantly, relationships with students. Because curriculum changes, your bosses change, even your coworkers change, but if you are constantly focused on relationships, and some come out of the places you wouldn't even think, kids that might be shut down in another class, somehow they find a connection in your classroom, and so just being aware of that, understanding the value of that as much as I want them to master the curriculum, obviously, I want them to be good people and good citizens, and understand and appreciate service and giving to others, and how much, and I'll speak of our community, born and raised here and still here, is that, your community, we have a supportive community, thank God, and give back, and to see that is just very important. So just being well-rounded in the relationships and fostering those over the years. And I'm still friends with students I taught in first grade, and now they're grown and have children. And I've attended weddings and baby showers and all kinds of things. And then the relationships, of course, today. So I definitely think that's what keeps the fire going, if you say so.
Yes, I want to say thank you. I can remember my very first year into teaching. I reached out to Christy, and she shared with me I needed to have a principal observation, and I was on the elementary level, and I needed something. I wanted something creative. I wanted something that was going to keep the students engaged. And I don't know if y'all have ever read the book, The Very Hungry Cow. you have not read this book, you need to get this book and read this book to your students or your children. Not only did Ms. Wesley help me with the story, but we had props. I mean, I had the caterpillar. We fed the caterpillar, and it knocked the principal off his feet to see the students that actively engaged. So thank you. She is my bestie. I call her my Caucasian bestie because I have and we grew up. We're like family. We love one another. We're there for one another. We can lean and depend on one another, and everybody needs that someone that they can just reach out to and know that there's no judgment there. We take care of one another, and so I love that, and so thank you so much for doing what you do, and looking forward to just a wonderful school year, encouraging one another. And so, Deidre, I'm coming back to you, Dr. Frazier. This is truly a sister to me. Her parents practically raised me. I could go to their house at any point in time, and the door was always open. I need to know. And did I coach you? Was I one of the assistant coaches when you? No.
Well, I was in high school when you were coaching, but you weren't my coach.
Okay. I'm trying to remember.
You were coaching the JV team when I was on the varsity team.
When you were crossing people over and stuff. I still can flash back and remember. Anyway, I want to ask you, as I watched you grow, being close friends with your older sister, what made you get into counseling, and how has the years in counseling benefited you?
Okay. Well, actually, when I think back, on my life and growing up and, how I entered into this particular path, I think I've kind of always been somewhat of a psychologist. Even as a little girl, I was always very quiet. I was always very absorbent. And so I would kind of always kind of look around and wonder, why are people acting like that? I wonder, why do they do the things that they do? And I really had a particular passion because my specialty is in child psychology. Okay. Even though I work with pretty much everyone, I prefer working with children. That's my specialty area. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I remember growing up was that whenever I would see other kids who were sad or who were being abused or neglected or bullied, everybody usually sees that and they feel sorry for the kids, but for me, it touched me in a different way.
Yeah, yes.
And there was something that made me want to connect with them and make them feel better, because I always thought, I don't want anybody to feel like that. And so I always, had that desire and that compassion within me. It's just kind of something that was naturally always there. And so I think that it was just kind of a natural course for me. I feel like I didn't even really choose it. It was just something that was in me. And so whenever I grew up and I realized there's a name for this, this is actually a thing, it's a psychologist or a therapist, so then what do I need to do in order to solidify this that's already within me? So then, when you go to school and you get the degree in this. And so I just kind of followed the directions and took the test and, got the license and here I am. And that's kind of how it started. And I love it. I feel like I don't even really come to work because I can literally talk about mental health all day, every day and never get tired. Yes.
And that's one of the things where where you're supposed to be. When you go to work and it doesn't feel like a job, then you're in the position that the Lord wanted you to be in. So I thank you for what you're doing. We're going to wrap up around the first quarter. But Dr. Hill, before I let you go, and just in case you can stay on a little bit longer, here's a question. With this pandemic in place and potential for people, especially teachers, getting sick, are there any extra what am I trying to say? Sick days. Did we get any extra sick days?
Good question. We often talk about the social and emotional needs of our students, but I think right now it is equally important to talk about the social and emotional needs of our staff. And we had lots of conversations early on with our teachers about their needs and what it would take for them to feel comfortable. And that was one of the first questions that came up. How do we support the needs of our own personal kids and families? And so, yes, in Swinney, we're definitely working with our teachers. One of the reasons that we are starting fully virtual is because we want everyone to be comfortable with that virtual setting, because at any time a teacher might have to pivot from in-person to virtual. And as long as the teacher can continue to provide that learning, even though they're virtual and the kids are in person, we'll put a sub in the classroom and that teacher can still fulfill his or her duties and not have to use time if they're asymptomatic and they're healthy and able to continue to teach. And so, yes, every case it's a case-by-case situation, but we're definitely working with all of our teachers to make sure they have the supports that they need and they to not have to eat away at their days as a result of the pandemic. So yes, we're definitely working with our teachers to meet them at their point of need.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Frazier, do you have anything that you want to share with teachers? Because we need all the positive feedback and tips that we can get, and then as well as parents out there for any student that is struggling. Do you have anything that you want to throw in here at this point, or maybe a little later? Or?
Well, just real quick, I'll just say for the parents in regard to like supporting the teacher, like I think it would be good for the parents to kind of check their own like attitude and not take anything like personally. Like these teachers and these principals and these superintendents, they have so many factors, to consider when it comes to making decisions and things like that. And I've been, it's very distressing sometimes to see the type of like anger or attacks that sometimes they get because the parent doesn't like the decision that they make. But it's not the teacher's fault that, the situation is like it is. And so I want my sister's a teacher. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and I just have compassion for them and the work that they do. And I think as parents, we can help support them by just understanding that, hey, like they're just trying to do their job. The principals, some of these principals and superintendents are getting like death threats, in other parts of the state and the country. And, it's no need for all that, and so to kind of be kind, to be supportive. And again, I like what the teacher was saying before about, one of the good things about growing up in Swinney, we are a community. Yes. And I'm hoping that you guys aren't facing those types of attacks. But if you are parents, please stop doing that.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. You heard it from the doctor. Parents.
Doctor's orders.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would like to say thank you so much to our first quarter panelists. Dr. Hill, I want to give a shout out to you because you are the first African-American superintendent for Swinney ISD, my alma mater, and I think for Brazoria County.
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
And so, how did that feel coming in? How did you have a lot of resistance? How did that feel? And then how many years have you been in Swinney before you get off? And tell me where you are right now.
Sure. So I will tell you, Swinney is just an amazing community. The community has just embraced me and shown me so much love and support. So I cannot have asked for a better superintendent and a place to serve. We just have a legacy of true success, and so it's been very easy to come in and work and continue to build on that legacy. So I've been very fortunate, and I'm grateful that the community has shown me such love, support, and even grace. Within the first couple of months of me being here, we faced Hurricane Harvey, and we had some snow incidences, and now we have a pandemic, but yet and still the community shows such grace, love, and support. And we really are one family. And so it has just been a joy, a true joy. And so I've been here 3.5 years, and I've loved every minute of it and love our kids and all they do. As you saw, our cheerleaders are on earlier. I mean, we just have such an amazing school district. And so I'm blessed. I'm blessed beyond measure. I have to pinch myself sometimes because it's just such a phenomenal community to serve.
Yes, it is. I call Swinney God's country. That's where I call it. Dr. Hill, before you go, I have a question all the way from Port Orange, Florida. This is my BFF from high school as well. Veronica Brown says, what can I tell my children who want to go back to school, but we're doing homeschool for the first semester?
Yes. So, hello over there in Florida. Started my teaching career in Florida. So we got connections there too. But, I think the thing that I would say is it may appear to be hard and challenging right now to be in a virtual only setting or to be in homeschool. Find ways to connect with other homeschool students and try to build those smaller communities of support for each other. And I would also, again, go back to the importance of getting connected in some type of extracurricular activity to stay active, to stay engaged, stay connected, be it, extracurricular activity as it relates to sports or music or church groups. Now more so than ever, we have got to stay connected and balanced. So I would highly recommend that if those students aren't engaged in something outside of the learning experience, now is the time to do it, to make sure that we maintain a sense of balance.
Oh, thank you. I have comments coming in talking about how amazing you are for the district, Dr. Hill. Keep doing what you're doing. Whoop, whoop, whoop. This will conclude our first quarter panelists. Can we get a drum roll? Woo-hoo! Thank you, panelists. We are going to get started with our second round. And in that second round, we have a DJ that's going to kick us a beat. This is one of my favorite songs that I like to hear at the pep rallies. So if you have questions, please submit your questions for the panelists in the chat. Please submit your questions and we will try to get to those questions. All right. Woo! Awesome. Thank you to my DJ. All right, we have a second quarter and our second quarter panelists. We're going to get ready to hear from our parking lot attendant for Brazos Port ISD, Miss Pamela Wiley.
Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Yes, I'm Pamela Wiley. This will be my 24th year at Brazos High School, where I'm very proud of because I know the Lord planted me there. I'm originally a graduate from Bay City Black Cats, but hey, I'm a Buccaneer right now.
All right, Black Cats represent. That's right. Don't forget where you came from.
All right.
Thank you so much, Aunt Pam. Next, we have our food manager for Brazos Port ISD, Shamarian Denise Fletcher.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Marion D. Fletcher. I've been employed with Brazos Port Feed Service for 3 years. I've been a manager since November of last year. So I'm really excited about tonight.
Thank you. You're welcome. She's making boss moves and loving those kids in the process. Thank you so much. And our third panelist is Ashlyn Hendricks from Lake Jackson Intermediate. Hey, Ashlyn.
Hello. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you.
Good. So I'm Ashlyn Hendricks. I am a 8th grade language arts teacher at Lake Jackson Intermediate. I absolutely love kids. specifically 8th grade. They're such a fun group. They're in between that puberty stage and drama and boyfriend and girlfriend stage, but it is absolutely such a fun age group to work with. And I am privileged to be on this panel. So thank you, Ms. Charmin.
You are welcome. Thank you. Ashlyn's my cousin, and I'm excited to see her blossom as she's a lover of students, and it's just exciting to have you as a part of the panel, Ashlyn. Next panelist would be Kevin Garrett. Hey. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, sorry, I'm in the. Oh,
Whoop, whoop.
also, SMU Mustang, Tony up. All right. I played the NFL for 4 years. I was an NFL hero for the Canadian Football League. Now I'm a entrepreneur with multiple businesses. My main business is that I a sport performance gym, which is where I'm on my way to right now. I have a group of volleyball athletes at 7 o'clock. So you see me in my car, but I'll be walking in my gym within like 2 minutes. But that's what I do now. I train kids and try to give back, and God bless me with athleticism and knowledge, and so I'm just trying to share with all the youth coming up.
Thank you so much. Kevin and I grew up in the same neighborhood, and he is like a brother to me, and he was my boot camp coach when I came back to Swinney, and he whipped us in shape. What time in the morning did we do boot camp?
It's about 5 o'clock.
Was it 5 o'clock in the morning in the Stewart's parking lot in Swinney? He had no slack. And he used to tell us, treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. And so that helped us to get in gear. And I thank Kevin so much for joining. He's the second time panelist. He was on our first panel to give some words of encouragement and tips on how to stay in shape, what you can do at home. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the questions for our second round panelists. First question is going to go to Ashlyn. Ashlyn, what do you love most about teaching?
Oh, okay. So I absolutely love teaching. The thing that I love the most about teaching is just getting to pour into like our future, which is those precious kids. I absolutely love getting to motivate them, getting to encourage them, just encouraging them to be the best version of themselves. Yeah. And I know that sometimes that they come from homes where they're not loved, they're not welcome. So it is my guarantee to them to come into my classroom, whether it be in face-to-face or virtual, yeah, and make sure that they're loved and appreciated, just because I don't know what they go through at home. So I do all of that while teaching them language arts.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate the love and the passion that you have for the students. I watch you at church operate with the youth, and you have such it's a natural instinct to relate to them. And so you do a great job. Keep it up. I'm going to ask Kevin a couple of questions. We know that you are getting ready for a 7 o'clock session. And so we're going to ask you a couple of questions real quick. What can you tell the students who are maybe having anxious feelings about not being able to be in school, and they're missing out on the social interaction or for athletic time? What can they do at home to keep themselves active and to stay motivated and hopeful?
Well, I've been hearing a lot of the studies about, the rate is real high about, students are depressed because they can't, interact with their peers. And sports, sports is a big part of the school system, whether it be at the high school level, middle school level, or even the collegiate level. A lot of kids go to school just for sports and interaction, but you can still have that interaction. There's I heard Dr. Hill mention earlier, get involved in an after school program. There's trainers in your neighborhood. If you're in the Dripping Springs area, I'd be happy to come and help you out. I actually have some. I've worked out an agreement with the school system here where I'm doing the strength and conditioning for the basketball program. I have some of the pods. Some people are not doing go back to school; they're doing pods. I'm doing the physical education for some of those pods. So whatever community that you're in, I'm pretty sure there's a trainer, there's an athletic program, there's a physical fitness program that you can get involved with. And they would like your support too, support small business. They probably were struggling through the COVID times. They lost a lot of their clients. Their gyms had to close down. But I'd advise you to get out, seek out, the local person who trains kids in your neighborhood and create a relationship with them, because they want that interaction as well. It goes full circle. Everybody was on quarantine, everybody was locked down. So everybody's seeking that interaction, not just students. Some teachers were too. Trainers are too. So I'd advise that. If that's not an option, if maybe they may be a little bit too pricey for you, which is the case in some instances, there's all kinds of online activities that you can do for free. Get on Facebook, get on Instagram, go Google, free workout or whatever. You can still stay active and it still be cost effective for you. But if you're looking for that interaction with other people, there's groups out there working out that you can join as well. I mean, I used to be a Camp Gladiator trainer. They're still doing workouts too. I know Charmin is Camp Gladiator out in Fort Worth as well. So, I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities for you to get out, stay active, and have that interaction that you're looking for.
Thank you so much. One of the things that I really appreciated with Kevin and his wife is when the pandemic first came about, what they did was they brought their gym into our home, their activity. And so he did free classes. He did the boot camp style, and then his wife did the yoga. And so it was very comforting to me. My husband made fun of me. He was like, you get about 3 or 4 workouts in a day. I was like, well, this extra energy, I got to burn it some kind of way. And so I absolutely appreciate that. You don't change when it comes to your clients. It doesn't matter if you're working with a younger clientele or if you're working with the adults. You treat us all the same. He expects the best. And that's what I appreciate about you the most.
Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Do you have any parting words that you would like to share? We know you got to get ready to start your next session.
Just I know these times aren't what we're used to, but sometimes you have to adapt and overcome. And overcome, make the best of the situation. And like you say, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. And also daily self-affirmation. Want you, everybody right now, if you're watching this, give yourself a hug right now. Hug yourself. Tell yourself, I love me some me.
I love me some me.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Daily self-affirmation. It goes a long way.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kevin from Swift Sessions. We appreciate you.
All right. I'll see y'all later.
All right. All right, Miss Pamela Wiley, coming to you. You are the parking lot security slash attendant. What are you most proud of as a security officer for your school?
I love the fact that I'm a part of a team. I feel like I'm a team player. In fact, I have on my Brazzwood t-shirt.
All right, all right.
I've always been a team player. I love the fact that, a pastor have a pulpit and I got the parking lot.
All right.
So so I get to water, I get to plant, into our future. I get to nurture. I'm the first thing they see, and sometimes the last thing they see when they leave school. So it's just a blessing to have a part of my grandchildren's future. That's how I look at it, or the future.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, because that role isn't very important. Sometimes you have some students and you have some staff, believe it or not, that can get out of hand in the parking lot.
Oh yeah, I'm so ready. I'm going to work with my armor on.
That's it.
All time. Yes.
That is it. Thank you so much, Denise. Coming to you. And this is very important because everybody on the panel, we like to eat.
Yes, Lord.
I don't know, but we like our food.
Yes, Lord.
Here's a question for you. What ways have y'all prepared to handle lunch shifts to keep the students safe? And where will the students eat?
Well, we have 2 ways that they're going to eat. We have some kids that's going to be on site. They will come to the cafeteria, and we well prepared I have ladies, they're gonna have their shields on, they're gonna have their mask on, we're gonna have gloves on. We got protective area around the cashier area, but they're gonna come in like 6 feet apart. They're not gonna be close together. Right now, we don't have all the kids there. The school that I'm at, TWR, we feed over 500 kids there, but we will not have 500 kids to start with. All of BISD employee kids will be coming to school the first day on the 19th, but the rest of our kids is not coming to school. We still gonna feed them. They can come to the school that they attend and still pick up their lunch there. And we'll have ladies outside waiting for them with their lunch.
Thank you. Well, you answered my second. You read my mind. My second question was going to be, for those students who choose online learning, how will they get? Will they be able to eat? How will they get their food? So, will they need to pick it up, or will it be delivered?
Well, it's no way that we can deliver all that food because we have so many kids in the district.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we have over 19 schools in our district. So it's no way that we can even take each kid their food. They're able to come to whatever school they go to. They can come to that school, and we have a place where they can pick up their meals. We still want to feed the kids.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, I have a question for you, Ashlyn.
All righty.
Where is my question for Ashlyn? Here we are. What are your thoughts about starting the school year in the height of a pandemic?
So I told myself when I found out we were going back to school, like, Ashlyn, you could be negative about this or you can be positive. So you're going to have to choose which one you want. So I chose to be positive. Yeah. So my words for this coming school year is to be positive, to be flexible, and to be influential. And so I'll just explain each word on why I picked that word for this school year. Positivity, just because being negative is so disgusting. It's gross, right? Yeah. And it's so it's contagious as well. Yeah. My kids know from last year that anytime they said something negative, I told them at the beginning of the school year, if you say something negative, I'm gonna come back to you with something positive. Like, negativity is not going to stand in this room. And so I'm going to do that with my coworkers, anybody. Yes. Like, if you're negative, I'm going to say something
everybody
positive. Right. Everyone's included in that because there's so much negativity going in the world. People feeling some type of way about wearing masks and not wearing masks. And it's just too much. And so I'm choosing to be positive, flexibility, to be honest, like, school districts can say one thing and then the next day it can be completely different. Yes. So I'm telling myself, like, Ashlyn, don't get stuck with, or don't just think that it's going to stay this way. Like, it could change. So be okay with that change and be positive with the change and not be negative about it. And then also being influential. That's more so for my students and even my colleagues as well. I just think it's so important. Like I said earlier, like, my students they've been at home for like 5 months. And I don't know what type of home lifestyle they've been surrounded by, the people they've been surrounded by. So I just think it's very, very important that I'm influential, whether that be positivity, flexibility, whatever I can do for them to, for me to be an impact to them is what I need to do. So I'm just going in the school year being positive because that's what's needed these days.
Yes, it is. Thank you. I like that. Positive, influential, and what was that third one?
Flexible.
Flexible. I wear a band, and what I tell my students, and I'm a former coach as well, that's one of the things I preach to them heavily. Have a flexible mindset. As Ashlyn said, the school district can say one thing today and it can be something totally different tomorrow. And so we have to understand, we can't get upset about it. We have to, as the older people told us, roll with the punches. So when something comes at you, just keep it going. Don't let one change stop you or block you. We have a question coming in. It says, as we work through this COVID-19 pandemic, how can we help the students be successful this school year? What can we do to help the teacher? I know for me, I'm going to speak coming as a teacher. One of the things that you can do to help the students be successful, and I'm going to speak to the parents, is monitor what your students are doing. Check to see if they have homework. If they have homework, make sure that they're getting that homework done. If they don't understand the homework, reach out to the teachers. I don't know about you, Ashlyn. I love it when a parent reaches out to me and asks for clarification.
Absolutely.
Yes, and so it makes a difference. Communication is key. Ms. Wesley said that in the first quarter. Communication is key. We need to know that if it's something that is not being understood, something that may require some tutoring, reach out and ask for that help. And it says, what can we do to help the teachers? Whew, Ms. Wesley said that too. Just be supportive, be patient. Ashlyn, what do you want to say?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
What do you want to say as a teacher? How can we support you?
Yes. So answering emails. So if we email you and ask you to make sure your child does this, this, and this, please go and see about what they need to get taken care of. And don't just trust the student to like whenever they say, oh, mom or dad or whoever the case may be, I finished my work. Like actually put your eyeballs on the work to see if they actually did it. Because I had some students last year say, oh, I completed it. And then in the grade book, I put it wasn't completed and their parents confused. Like, oh, my kid said he did it. I'm like, no, he or she did not, because they told you one thing, but it's not. And then the other part of that question, how can we help the students to be successful this school year? So I tell my students, like, anytime you have a question, you need to let me know, because I don't read minds. As much as I wish I could, I don't read minds, and I don't know you need help, especially virtually, unless you say something. So it's just really important for them to speak up for themselves. So I really, I teach my students to do that. I'm like, even if you have a question at 1 o'clock in the morning, I had a kid like literally at 2 o'clock in the morning, like message me. And I'm like, I love that. Like, if you ask me for help, that makes me happy. So please ask me for help. So
thank you so much. That means a lot to, I know, the parents that are listening in, to be able to hear that. I want to, trying to see if that was a question. Okay, that was a comment. I want to come back to Denise, Miss Fletcher, and ask you, do you have any, what would you like to share with the parents concerning students if a student comes into that lunchroom and they're not feeling good, or parting words for parents as far as when it comes to the health end, the food end of it?
Well, we haven't really discussed that part, because the teacher is going to know if they're sick before we know, because they have to go to the teacher first. They automatically don't come to the class to the cafeteria anymore.
Okay. I'm sorry.
They usually come in. Are you there?
Okay.
They usually, when they come in,
Yes.
when I was a best friend and we didn't have a COVID, they would come in straight to the cafeteria. We're not doing it anymore. They're going straight to their classrooms. And then the teacher is going to be responsible for getting them to us. So the teacher will see them before us. They will know if they're sick before we do.
Okay, thank you. That's good clarification there.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you. Great answer. Thank you. So they will report to teachers first before they head to that cafeteria. So great answers there. Let me see. I want to check and see if there was anyone chatting and had another question in the chat room. And it doesn't look like we have another question. If you're out there listening to us and you have a question, submit your question in the chat. We would love to try to pull those questions in for you. I have, let's see, Ashlyn, how do you keep your students who choose virtual learning actively engaged? How will you keep them actively engaged?
All right. So like others have said, this is a new experience for everyone. But in my classroom, because language arts is known as like that boring class, I try to turn that around and just make kids enjoy, not make them, but I try my hardest to pull them in and get them to enjoy language arts. So one thing that I do face-to-face, I'm going to do the same thing virtually, but that is to have class discussion. So I'm going to have a Google Meet, which is kind of like Zoom. And we're going to, read passages and have discussions, and not just discuss, but I'm not like ask them questions to see if they're actually paying attention and get them involved in those discussions. And then I'm also, the first few days of school, we'll also be doing like get to know you games and stuff like that. Some of the same things that we would do face to face. We're going to do that virtually. And I just think it's very, very important to build those relationships. Although we won't be face to face, I just want my kids to know that like I'm still here, but you just don't see me like in person. But I still want them to know that I'm doing everything I can to make sure that we have a relationship. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All righty. Dr. Frazier, do you have anything that you would like to share?
Oh, I didn't realize I was still on in this. No, I really like what the teacher, I think Miss Hendricks, was saying about her, you know, her words, her, you know, positivity and flexibility. I just really like that. I think it's good for us to just kind of have a good mindset going into this thing. Because really, when it comes to, we all kind of like to control and want to know what's going on. And unfortunately, in these particular times, like nobody knows, none of us have control over, you know, what's happening. And so when we don't have control, what we can control is our thoughts. You know, you can't control like what's going on around you in your environment, but you can control your thinking. So I just think that it's important for us as parents, teachers, educators, everybody, you know, who's experiencing this, to try to guard our thoughts. You know, stay positive, affirm yourself, like what Kevin was saying. And if you keep your mind healthy and you keep your mind strong, then you can face anything that's going on in your environment, no matter what it is. So I just think I would like to, you know, just kind of add that in addition to what she was saying. And I can keep on going if if Charmin doesn't come back in. I'm not sure if we're having technical difficulties, but until she comes back in, I will. I like what I think Ashlyn was saying with her different words. Oh, you can go ahead, Charmin. I was trying to kind of fill some time in. You know, okay, I can talk about this all day.
And look, I'm backstage talking and moving and realized that my mic was muted. So I'm so sorry. What I wanted to ask was if any of you have any closing words as we get ready to close down second quarter and get ready to bring in a cheer and our third quarter panelist. This has been awesome feedback. Yes, ma'am, Miss Wiley.
I work security, and I don't hear very much about that. School is different. I'm 60 years old. School is different than it was when I was going to school. There's police and security on our grounds. It was just 2019 and 2018 when we had to worry about kids bringing weapons in the school building. We still have to be alert. Security, we can't be as flexible as you guys, as teachers and counselors, what have you. We have to think of everyone as well as the individual. So some things that may not seem or make sense to the parent or the staff, there is a good reason for what seems like insanity to coming from security or the police force. But our job is first and foremost everyone's safety to and from school, as well as our own. When I go to work, I rely on my skills and training, but I also very much rely on my spiritual weaponry and discernment. I'm very proud of those things. And I am a watchman on a tower, and I watch the grounds, and I just wanted to keep that in mind of everyone. We have an enemy, a new enemy, but there's other enemies that are still lingering. You know, the scriptures say he's like a lion roaring to and fro, trying to see who he can devour, but not on my watch, if I can help it. Not on my watch and on my campus. So that, you know, I deal a lot with visitors first, and visitors or parents coming on campus or, you know, and we have certain guidelines, questions. We're going to inconvenience you before you get to the receptionist. All of these things are very vital and important for the safety of your child and everyone else's children on our grounds. it can be pleasant. And we do need to work as a team, and that's including the parents, the community, safety. We're talking about safety. We're talking about our health, but we're talking about safety. And this year, our enemy, it poses a life and death situation to us all. It's not packing a gun, but it may come with a gun. It wasn't someone off the street coming into the campuses. It was kids coming into campuses with weapons. They don't fight with their fists anymore. It was guns. So we still got to be mindful of all the attacks that could be around our precious babies, and just be considerate and compassionate and thoughtful to one another. That's what I like to say.
Yes. Thank you so much for those closing words. Ms. Hendricks?
Yes, I'll say something really briefly because I love to talk as well. So and people have already said this, but I just want to reiterate that we are a team. So parents, teachers, students, we are literally one team. I tell my parents sometimes, not my parents, but like my students' parents, that their kid is my kid. So I want them to know that in my room, they're going to get the best of me. I might come in tired, but my kid will get the best of me. And so I just want educators to be encouraged. Yes, we don't know exactly what is going on as far as, the next day. It could change. Like the meeting I have to go to tomorrow, it may change, And so to just be mindful of the change, but also be mindful of that you need to take care of you so that you can take care of others. And so that's one thing that I pray about sometimes, like God help me so that I can help others. Because if I'm empty, then I can't really give like I need to. I also want to say to parents, reiterate that we need y'all support just like you need our support. And so if like I had parents last semester, at the end of last semester, like email me, and I told them, like, don't hesitate to email me. If your student needs motivation, I will literally call your house, your cell phone, and give your student motivation to get work done, because I want my students to know that I don't just care about them academically, but I care about their mind. I care about them physically. So I just want them to know that, like, I'm not just a teacher, I'm an educator. Like, I care not just about a STAR test, but I care about your life. And so that's one thing that I want students to realize. I want parents to realize. And also with kids, I also want them to know that, like, I don't want you to just get a 70. Like, they just have this mindset, like, I just want to, did I pass? I'm like, it's not about that. Do your absolute best. So I would say to students to do your best, to show up, ask questions, email your teacher if you do not understand something, because we want you to be successful, not only in whatever grade they're going to, but in life.
Yes, thank you so much. I want to piggyback off of something that Ashlyn just shared, Ms. Hendricks just shared. One of the things that we teachers love to see is students giving their very best.
Absolutely.
And if that student is giving their very best and a 65 is the most that they have, I'm a teacher. I'm not going to fail you. I'm going to pass you because I see you giving your very best. Don't ask for or look for easy way out and want teachers to help push you if you're not going to put forth your best energy. As Ms. Hendricks shared, we take on the attributes of your parent. And I'm that same way. I love when the students come to me, I treat them as my own. I discipline them as if they're my own. I stay on them. And I've been teaching since 96, 97, and I have yet to have a confrontational parent conference because I've disciplined a student. I'm going to discipline them in love. And if they get in trouble at the end of the day, the next morning when school starts and they come into my classroom, we'll have a new slate. I'm not one to hold grudges. I don't want the student to feel bad, but I do want them to give their very best. So thank you, Ashlyn, for those parting words. Keep rocking, teacher.
Thank you.
Miss Fletcher, any parting words on your behalf?
Yes. I just want all the kids to know that we are food service managers. We're doing our best to prepare what is needed. I mean, we're kind of going in the kitchen blind because we have a set number of kids that we're feeding every day, from some schools 500, some schools 900, but we're doing our best to prepare the food. We've got all the safety precautions up and ready. We're training on different things to help us so that we can make sure that we're going to put the food out safe, we're going to be safe. So we're expecting a lot. We're going in it blind because we don't know how many kids that we're going to feed, but we are prepared to feed those kids.
Thank you so much. I want you to keep making the headline. She's been in the paper so a couple of different times now. Keep doing what you're doing. You're showing up and showing out. Thank you for loving those students.
Carmen,
Okay. Yes.
can I say one other thing? Because I'm on the campus I'm on are 9th grade to 12th.
Yes.
And young people love love.
Yes.
They love to show it with hugs and embrace. So security, here we go again. Security gonna come in, and it's not that we don't love, but like I said, this enemy we got to social distance.
Yes.
So again, I say we need the help of the parents.
Yeah.
Security is not there to be bullies, but it's about everyone's safety. So if they can help us with their teens, and know and help minister that social distancing is important. Even with the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
Yes, it is.
Social distancing.
Yes, it is.
Important.
That's some air hugs and air high fives, all that good stuff, air fist
better
bump.
than none. Yes.
Yes, it is. Thank you guys so much. All right, we are excited to get ready to wrap up the second quarter, and we're going to have a performance by our Swinney Junior High cheerleaders. Moving along, we're going to try and replay that a little bit later on. We're going to go ahead and get started with our third quarter panelists. I just want to say I hope that you all have been enjoying the broadcast so far, and that you're getting some ideas and information that is helping to make you feel better about going into this school year, starting the 2020-2021 school year. I hope that you are, we're doing some things to help you feel a little bit more comfortable out there. And we are getting ready for our third quarter panelist. And our third quarter panelist, first panelist up is Felicia Jones.
Hello, everybody. I am super excited to be on with you, Charmin. This is amazing. I said all the time, if it has anything to do with the children, count me in.
Yeah.
I'm Felicia Jones. I'm the owner of Smart Scholars Foundation. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization here in Houston, Texas. And I am also a bulldog. Come on, girl. Come on. You've always been a cheerleader. So I am the owner of Smart Scholars Foundation. I graduated from Swinney High School back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Right before Charmaine. Ain't gonna tell my age. But I'm super excited to be on tonight. This is an amazing panel, just to bring the teachers, the superintendent, the workers together, just to share the same sentiment. And I think everybody's saying the same thing. We really, really do care about our children, and we want the best for them. So thank you for having me tonight. Thank you for doing this. This is an amazing opportunity just to encourage our children. And I think that's the one thing, I know I'm talking long, but I think that's the one thing that we've got to keep, as the main thing. This is about our children, y'all. It's about our children.
Yes, it is. When I say somebody is passionate, I follow her on Facebook. And what I love about Facebook is that you can be in another country and stay connected to your hometown. So I'm super excited about what you're doing. And I counted a privilege to have you as a part of my panel. I think that if we were in a neck and neck race for who love the children, it may be a tie. Because
girl, I got you. I'm gonna let you make it. Because you always been good at sports and I have. I wasn't so.
But you were a wonderful manager. She was our basketball manager. You kept us intact. So thank you so much. Thank you. Next up, we have, we're going to bring back Dr. Frazier. She's going to jump back in here and shed some more light. Yes, yes. Come from backstage. You're upstate. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. And then we're going to have my cousin, my ride or die, what I say can tell a story or pull a story out of you. This is her. She's behind the scenes. She's running this thing and she's coming to the forefront. Alexis Rowe. Tell them about yourself, cousin.
Oh, listen, I am, you know what? Who am I? I'm an artistic theologian. I tell stories about the resilience of Black girls and Black women. And I tell those stories on diverse platforms, page, stage, screen, web, podcast. And so that's how I'm kind of, I was supposed to be behind the scenes because I know all of these little kind of sneaky, like easier, accessible, little tricks and tools of the trade. And so I told Charmin that I, would absolutely love to help her behind the scenes. And she was like, cuz I need you on the panel too. And I was like, okay, anything for you, Sean. My foray into storytelling actually was the first 4 young adult novels that I published, a YA series written for reluctant reading teens and preteens. Because I targeted that group. Most people who write books target people who read books. But I targeted the ones who don't read because I recognize that if we get our children reading early, that they will be able to write their own ticket. Because the solutions that life will, the solution to a lot of the different things they're going to face in life will be found in the book. And so if they decide early on that they're not readers and they have cut themselves off from all of the solutions. And so my primary goal was, listen, I'm gonna put some stuff in some books that's gonna cause you get you to turn the page and then the next page. And then the next thing you know, you finish one book and then you finish all of my books. And all of a sudden you're now scouring the bookshelves looking for more interesting titles. I have officially made you a reader. And it's like, hashtag my job is done. So I started off with the babies. And, now I'm kind of, I'm doing more live producing of live events, but still very much about the power of stories. They're important.
Thank you so much. My third quarter panelist. We're going to kick off questions, and with Alexa sharing how she reaches out to reluctant readers and the importance of reading at a young age. My first question is coming to you, Felicia. I'm coming to you because you left corporate America to reach out to the babies. Tell us about what you do and why you do it.
So yes, you are correct. I resigned from oil and gas, 15 years of working in the oil and gas industry as a project manager, traveled the world, really, literally, managing projects. My last project was out in Louisiana, and I loved what I did. And so I kind of thought that was going to be my retirement phase of life. Short and sweet, my pastor and his wife, and actually our church, we own 2 daycares, childcare centers. And back in the day, about 7 years ago, my pastor's wife was actually working 2 daycares back and forth. Like she was back and forth trying to maintain one. She had an assistant director at the other, and she was really overwhelmed. And I could tell that she was. And we typically go out to lunch on Saturday, she and I, and we'll hang out and do different things. And so one particular Saturday, she and I went to lunch, and I was sitting there, and I had already been praying about it. And I knew that I was ready for a career change. I just didn't know that it was going to be this. But just to show you how God will order your steps and orchestrate your life, we were sitting at lunch and I said to her, what do you think about me coming to work for you at the childcare? And she was like, girl, I can't afford to pay you. And I was like, that's okay. I don't mind. I want to do something different. If you train me, I'm willing to learn. And sure enough, we sat down, we talked about it. I think that Monday morning, I went back to oil and gas and gave my resignation. And I tell y'all, it was a leap of faith. It was really, when I sit back and I look at it today, I'm baffled at how God ordered my steps way back then, not knowing that he was preparing me for it now. You change clothes, girl. Anywho, so I said today, like I left oil and gas to come here to be to resign, to go there to work in the daycare. And I went from there to working at another daycare closer to home. And then I started my own. And it's just it's been an amazing opportunity.
Well,
it's been an amazing opportunity.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Oh,
yes, I've had an opportunity to work preschool for 1 year. And when I say that's a ball of energy,
right?
and they are so loving, and just to watch them interact with one another, it is eye-opening and hilarious.
Yes.
Because they have their own language, they have their own way of communicating, and it's a lot of fun. And one of the things I want to jump back to you, Felicia, is with the pandemic and the little ones being as loving and embracing, what have you done differently and to let the other parents know not to be afraid to send your student to school, your toddler or your pre-K school?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be the first to say, I heard Ms. Hendricks Ashley say, that this is about our mindsets and our attitudes. And I'll be the first to tell you, even in childcare, even in education, teachers, y'all didn't admit it, but I'm going to admit it. We all are afraid. We all are literally holding on, really to our faith right now. This is a whole different world as it relates to how we go back into our way of doing things. And so my pastor's wife and I, we talk about this all the time, Lady Gillen. I've been closed since March, believe it or not. And even in the midst of that, I've still seen the hand of God upon my business, my daycare, all of that, not even having kids here. But there was a point in my life where I was in a panic mode, like, oh, what am I going to do? But I began to take peace in knowing that God still had me. So let's fast forward to now. I haven't opened back up. I'm not sure, Charmin, if I am going to open back up, simply because of what you just said. When you have the smaller kids, it's different than your high schoolers and your junior high schoolers. When you got these babies that all they know is hug, 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 and love, 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 and they're running to you every morning, that's going to be a hard challenge for any pre-K teacher to have to refrain from that type of loving environment. And then to educate our children on it. So my hopes are that the parents are teaching them as well at home the importance of now social distancing. But I just don't know that from a standpoint of preparing our younger kids, your 4 and 5 year olds, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. So for me, I'm leaning more towards just waiting until after Labor Day, until after the kids go back into the schools, kind of see how things pan out, and then perhaps open then. But I don't have the guts to do it right now, simply because it's the babies, and we do the smaller kids. We have the infants, we have the toddlers, and then we have the pre-Ks, and that's a whole nother ball game when it comes to education, and when it comes to somebody else's child. I just don't want to take that risk. And so, not that I operate in fear, because I do know that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but I operate in faith, and I'm also operating in wisdom.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Having the opportunity to work again with the preschoolers and having supportive parents, I know that the parents appreciate your love and respect and your decision.
Yeah.
Even though it may be hard, we have to look at what's best, because
Yep.
we all, I think, can agree that daycares are one of the places where germs are passed a lot.
Yes. Yes.
Kids get colds and
Yep.
you know, it's just passed. And so
Mhm.
we respect your decision,
Thank
and
you.
pray that everything is going to work out in
Sure.
according, you know, in God's own time and for you.
Yep.
So keep loving those students from
Yep.
a distance, those babies from a distance.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. I want to, Dr. Frazier, do you want to share anything when it comes to that for the parents who have the smaller children? How can we encourage them and keep the parents motivated?
So first, I want to, just indicate to, I think Ms. Jones, who just spoke, I feel like what I was saying before about, not being kind to ourselves and not comparing. I appreciate the fact that she is comfortable with the decision that she's making, and she's making the best decision for her. And I feel like it's important, for us not to judge each other, just because she's making that decision that's best for her. If somebody else does not make that decision, that's okay. And for a parent, if you are in a position where you do need to send your small child to a facility, then I think one of the important things is, kids really thrive off of like routine and things like that. And if we can, and they're very resilient also. And very small children, they love learning new concepts through like songs and through different types of activities. So if we can make social distancing kind of a new part of their like lifestyle, and kind of turn it into like something that they can kind of understand. Kids can pick up on whatever you put at them. So if you need to teach them social distancing concepts, I mean, I know like with I have two small children, we like sing songs like whenever we wash our hands to make sure that they're washing their hands for long enough, and different things like that. We've talked about social distancing. We never even heard this word social distancing before, but now it's a part of our vocabulary, so we talk about social distancing and we kind of talk about what that means, and creating, kind of like personal bubble spaces and different things like that. So if you are in a position as a parent or as a small, childcare provider, institution, if you focus on teaching new routines and teaching different concepts, it's going to be different because it's natural for small children to want to be close. It's going to be different. But if we're consistent and if we stick to it, they can pick it up. They can do whatever it is that we put into them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they can. Thank you very much. Thank you. Alexis, I'm going to ask you, when working with the youth, not the toddlers, but the teenagers, and reaching out to them and getting them to what do I want to say? Open up to you when you go into the schools. What method do you use? How do you reach them?
When I want them to open up to me, the first thing I do is model it. So I open up to them.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that has caused me to have a tremendous amount of success in not just getting them to open up, but for them to not dwell in shame. One of the things that I studied in seminary, which led me to, opening my storytelling practice, was the efficacy of guilt and the destructive nature of shame. Guilt is effective in society because it says what I did was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But shame says I am wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many of our young people who walk around in secrecy, silent about where they've been. And they're like, oh my God, I have ruined my life. And then when I go in and I tell a story, and they're like, wait, it's not just me. And because I have told a story, then when one hand goes up and then all these other hands go up, and suddenly they realize there is a way in which we are, we're all human together. We are all beautifully flawed together.
Yes.
Immensely loved by God.
Yes.
And to serve as a conduit of that has been, a really important thing. But first, it starts by me, like, opening up my stuff.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. One of the things that when Alexis worked with me to pull off the first panel, she gave me, I was like, okay, I'm nervous. I don't know how to do it. And she just gave me an outline. And sometimes we need an outline. We need the structure. Dr. Frazier, as you said, I follow directions, and that's how I got to become who I am today. Sometimes we need that structure to help us to become, to know the steps to take to better ourselves. And guess what, Dr. Frazier, I know you can agree, we all struggle. At some point in time, we all have a weakness. We all have a sad moment. We all have that angry moment. We all have that impatient moment. So we all have to understand, Miss Wesley said it in the first segment, patience. We have to have patience. Miss Hendricks said it in the second segment, flexibility. We gotta have a flexible mindset. As a teacher and a former coach, that's one of the things I would tell my athletes. You gotta have a flexible mindset. One play that worked the first quarter may not work, the second quarter. So you gotta be flexible. You gotta be willing to make the adjustments. And sometimes it's minute by minute in the classroom. Okay. And as we're getting ready to start this new school year in the height of a pandemic, we got to be willing to speak up and speak out, let our voices be heard. I was one of those ones in high school. I suffered a lot of things silently because, one, I was embarrassed. Two, I didn't know how to really tell my story and didn't know if I told my story, if people were going to believe me. And so it just made me close my mouth and just fake it till I make it. And that's not always easy, and it's not always healthy.
There's
So
definitely I don't think it's ever healthy. I think that it's important for us to be surrounded by people that can with whom we can unmask.
Yes.
And just let down the guard and tell the truth, which is what the whole mental health and well-being movement is.
Yes, it is.
Dismantling the mask.
Yes, it is.
Because healing is possible. It's
yes.
not possible if you decide that my mask just needs to fit tighter or it's not as bad. Yeah, no, it's bad and it will get worse and it will get heavier. So yeah, I'm not an advocate ever of saying, oh, okay, well, yeah, I can keep it. No. Healing is possible.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And I want to come back to you, Dr. Frazier, and asking you, what are some tips that you can give to the students and their parents if the student is struggling and the parent sees them struggling but don't know how to help them? I'm going to say emotionally.
Okay. So if the student is struggling and the parents don't know how to help them, so one of the things I want to mention is that we do have resources that are available. And I think that sometimes because we don't know that there are people and there are, support systems out there in place, we feel like you said, we have to just suffer in silence because nobody's going to help me, or nobody cares about me, or nobody cares about my problems. And so just because your parent may not know what to do, that doesn't mean that your problem, cannot be helped or addressed. And so you can think about, and we've heard from other panelists before on the call, whether it's a person who works in the cafeteria or the parking lot attendant, all these people, your youth minister. There's so many people around our communities and around our lives who support us. They may not be a licensed therapist or counselor, they may not be that, but they care about you and they'll listen to you. And guess what? They can connect you to a professional or to a support system or organization that can help you in a more personal way. So don't ever be discouraged and give up that nobody cares or nobody is going to help me. There is someone who can help you. If you feel like you can trust someone, if you feel like there's somebody I can go to, whether it's a coach, whether it's, again, like I said, the parking lot attendant, the cafeteria worker, your counselor, your teacher, your principal, there's somebody at my church that's some old lady that smiles at me and she makes me feel nice, she seems like, she will listen to, speak out, advocate for yourself, and somebody will help you get your needs met.
Yeah. Can I say something? I know Charmin is kind of, she stepped away for a moment, but to piggyback off of that, I don't know about you, but for me, hey, I was just going to interjoin that conversation.
I need you to piggyback. Yes.
Hey, I got you. But here's what I wanted to say, and that is all of us, you couldn't have said it any better, Charmin, and that is we all grew up with those masks. We all grew up hiding behind them. Why? Because we were taught what goes on in our house stays in our house, right? We weren't taught that you can open up and talk. We weren't taught that you can find Sister Johnson and she's going to be able to help you and pray you through it or lead you in the right direction. We didn't know all of those things back in the day. And so today, because I go into the schools, I work with the kids. One of the things that I found, y'all, and the best medicine you can ever give a child is really to get on their level. You have to remove yourself from being this, I'm Felicia Jones and you're going to respect me. No, what's going on, baby? Why are you acting out like this? What's happening? And we have to be able to reach them to that magnitude that we get on their level. I have pictures of me sitting on the ground one day with a girl in the class who walked out of the class and she decided to just go sit in the hallway. The next thing I know, I'm sitting down on the ground with her. Somebody walked by and take a picture of it. I did that because I wanted her to know that I can get on your level. We're going to figure this out and we're going to figure this out together. And so to piggyback off of Dr. Frazier's, did I say her name right?
Yes.
So to make sure I said her name right. But to piggyback off of her answer, that's just the reality of where we are today. There are resources available. Parents, please don't feel bad about getting your child the help that he or she needs. It's okay. We're in a whole different era today. And so what worked for us back then, it's not working today. These kids can't mask it. They can't suppress it. They can't walk around and carry that burden on them without breaking down. And so I do agree with you, Dr. Frazier, that's important. We've got to utilize the resources that are available. If it means psychological counseling, then it means psychological counseling. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes. Right. Thank you. Dr. Frazier, did you have anything you want to pick back off on that one?
No, but I did want to mention something that I don't want us to, I guess I can find a way to fit it in, but I wanted to mention it because we haven't said it so far yet. And that is the importance of kind of monitoring our children's online presence. Now that we're kind of in a situation where we're all kind of in this virtual learning environment, the kids just are going to have more access to electronics and they're going to be on their devices like a lot more often. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's the platform that creates, the cyberbullying and, all this kind of like influence and different things like that. Yeah, and so we really want to be careful. I just wanted to, make sure that we mention that because this is something it's important, for us to have online safety, but now more than ever, because they're going to be even our little bitty babies, my baby's in kindergarten, first grade, and they're going to be on devices all day, and so of course there's things that pop up, sometimes, I'll walk in the room and, the kid is watching like a YouTube video or something and I'll hear like a curse word. They don't even know what it means, but like if I didn't hear it, I wouldn't have known that they're exposed to that, if you understand what I'm saying. So we really want to be careful to monitor their online presence. There are things that there are sexual predators, out there. I know sometimes we don't really want to talk about that, but that happens even here in Brazoria County. I deal with that. I see that there are sexual predators, there's child trafficking, there's pornography, that the kids are exposed to. There's even like identity theft, like being hacked. So, I just kind of wanted to throw that in there somewhere that we really want to kind of be careful about that in this new virtual learning environment.
Yes, thank you so much. That is so important. That's one of the things at the beginning of the school year. I am currently teaching in Fort Worth ISD. And one of the things that we have to do is called digital learning. Now, I'm sorry, training, online training. And one of the videos that I try to do with my students is called cyberbullying. And then also about teaching them about digital footprints and letting the students know that every site you go on, you're leaving a footprint, just like you walk in mud and you leave the footprint in the mud. Well, every site you go on, regardless of whether you try to get there or not, there is a digital footprint. And then also understand that whenever you're communicating back and forth, it's not always easy to understand the tone
Yes.
in your communication. So work with your students, their parents, and whenever they're communicating, and vice versa, parents work with the teachers whenever you're communicating. Let's show that love. Let's show that respect.
Yes.
Make sure that we are being supportive of our students and monitoring the things that they are looking at and watching. I know as a mother of 5 and being a teacher and being a coach and being the wife of a coach, one of the things that our kids did, and they really didn't bulk about it, but we got instant feedback from their teachers. So we're one of those ones, okay, they emailed us, we send that email back. And one of the things I tried not to do is to enable my child, our children rather. If they did something, I'm going to talk it over with the teacher first, and I'm going to get both sides of the story, because I think someone had mentioned earlier that we can't, I think it was Miss Hendricks, you can't always go on what the students say. If your student says that they did their homework and they didn't, or if they said that this happened and it didn't, don't just take their sides. There's always 2 sides to a story. So let's be willing to listen to both sides of the story and make the best decision using our parental wisdom. And now some nowadays though, we have some young parents.
Yes.
And some young parents haven't lived long enough
Yes.
to have a lot of the wisdom. So parents, if you are a young parent, don't be defensive if people are giving you tips that will help you with your student. Okay. Remember, we're in this together. It takes a joint effort. There's a saying that it takes a village to raise a kid, and it truly does. And we've got to get back to the village mindset.
Yeah.
We have to be willing to allow our students, the parents, the community coming in, the mentors coming in. We have to be willing to get on the same page so that we can make sure that the students achieve success. And that's the whole purpose of this panel, is to usher in that atmosphere, that motivation to say, hey, you know what? We may be in the COVID pandemic season, but COVID don't have to take over us and lock us down in fear and make us act out of character.
Right.
We can do this thing together. And so the ones who have come on and shared, y'all have imparted some great tips and some wisdom. And I love your spirit coming onto the stage. This pep rally style has been so much fun. I want to say thank you, Felicia and Dr. Frazier. Hang tight. We got one more quarter.
Okay.
For those of you who are out there viewing, if you have any questions that you want to submit in a chat, please don't hesitate to do so. We're getting ready now. We're going to see if our technology is going to work so that we can showcase the Swinney Junior High cheerleaders and the O.H. Herman cheerleaders, because they work so hard and we want to get them seen so that their talent can be recognized. So thank you so much as we get ready to transition into the 4th quarter. Okay, apologize for those technical difficulty. We definitely want to let the the O.H. Herman middle school cheerleaders and the Swinney junior high cheerleaders, let them know that we certainly appreciate all the hard work that you put in and the time frame that you did to to practice those cheers and the dance. I apologize that they haven't come off. We'll try one more time before we wrap it up to present it to you guys, because they came with such spirit and it was so fun to go and watch them practice this week. And we just want to thank you. I want the O.H. Herman kittens to know I'm representing you very well. And so what we're going to do without prolonging the time is we're now getting ready for our 4th quarter, and we have a song that we want to play. Is my DJ ready for my song? Let's see if our DJ is ready. Give us a little bit of a
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you're going in, put your hands in the air.
woohoo! I don't know, something about that song make me win, make me want to win. So thank you so much to my DJ. And we're getting ready to introduce our final quarter panelists. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to bring these young ladies onto my panel. We have two young ladies coming in, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Aren't they looking good? Look at them back here. Y'all got my back? Okay, I got your back. They got my back. I got their back. Next, first up, we have Marissa Payne. Whoop, whoop, whoop. What school, Marissa?
Sweeney Junior High.
Thank you. Make some noise. Let me get them pom-poms again. Woohoo! Sweeney is representing all over the place tonight. And next up, we have. All right. Whoop, whoop. Thank you, Sakai. And Sakai, what do you do at Sweeney? What position do you? I saw you this week doing some stuff. Tell them what you do.
Mascot.
Yeah. She's a mascot at Sweeney Junior High. What grade are you in?
8th grade.
8th grade. What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade too.
Awesome. Are you guys besties?
Yes.
Are y'all really, really besties? Y'all look like besties. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ladies, grab your seats. Grab your seats. All right. We're gonna finish up this round. We're gonna finish up this round with these young ladies, and they're gonna squeeze in here with me, and we're gonna talk. We're just gonna talk and see what they're thinking. Getting ready to start the school year in the height of a pandemic. And Sakai, tell me, how do you feel about starting this new school year?
I feel excited and excited that we're continuing lessons in a safe way.
Thank you. I love that. And to hear a youngster say that they feel excited, that makes, I know me as a teacher feel good. And we have her mom in the audience, and I know her mom ought to be feeling real good about that because everybody's not excited about going back to school. So thank you. All righty. How do you feel about starting this new school year?
I'm a bit nervous because I feel like the digital learning is going to be a little bit hard. But then again, I'm excited because like I don't have to get held back or anything. And then I won't have to go into like a dangerous environment and risk catching something.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I love that openness. This is one of the things that students, if you're listening and you're looking at these beautiful young ladies up here representing, these are junior high young ladies, and they're being open and they're being honest. Having that nervousness about going back into the school year, and then excitement about going back into the school year, and then that nervousness about online learning. Okay, we're keeping it real. Online learning is not always easy. Some people need that to be in the classroom to have the teacher interaction. So what is one thing that you will do when we get ready to start the virtual learning process? What is one thing that you're going to work to do as a student to make sure that you're successful? Either one of you can answer that question.
I would like make sure that my lunch is prepared. Or like it will be something quick and easy, so I won't have to like take time out of my day and miss my classes for that.
Awesome.
Like, eager to get home.
All right, thank you. What is one thing that you're going to do to help get prepared?
I'm gonna make sure that I have everything organized, like all my books and my papers.
Yes.
Because usually I would be like running around
trying to find everything, but now that I'm doing virtual learning, it'll be much easier.
Yes, that's it. This could be my child because I'm usually running around trying to find this and trying to find that as well. So I like the strategy that you're going to use. You said you're going to make sure to get those things organized and lined out, and it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. What do you ladies want to say to the teachers, especially if you're doing an online class? And it's a little bit tough. How would you reach out to your teachers to let them know instead of getting frustrated and being at home frustrated? What can you do to reach out to your teachers to get that help that you may need?
We could email them
Okay.
and go on Zoom.
All right. I'm loving it. I taught my students about using Zoom as that platform. And Zoom, even though you may not be able to see each other face to face, you can reach out and talk via Zoom and still have that closeness. That's what I was sharing earlier about Facebook. We may not be in the same city. We may not be in the same state. We may not be in the same country. But if we have that camera and that camera is pointing at us and we're seeing the other person on the other end, it creates a close. So emailing that teacher, even though you're not in the classroom with that teacher, is very, very important. Make sure you speak up, because if you don't open your mouth, can the food get in your mouth when you're hungry? A closed mouth won't get fed. Let me hear you say it. Say it louder.
A closed mouth won't get fed.
Yeah, so you got to speak up. You have to speak up and know that we are concerned as a teacher, as a mentor, a youth mentor. I work with a youth at my church. We want to hear your concerns. We want you to be successful. We want you to know that we support you. And so anything that you're dealing with when the school year starts, or even prior to the school year starting, I still Zoom with my students that I had last year. And so I just do a quick Zoom, and those who get on, and I just talk to them. How are you doing? You know, let me know what's going on. What are you doing to get some exercise? All of those things. What I want to jump to next before we get ready to wrap things up is, what are you going to do to stay safe when you are able to go back into that classroom and you see your friends you haven't seen in 5 months? What are you going to do? How are you going to meet and greet them?
Definitely gonna wear masks, like elbow touches, sanitize.
Yes. Wave at them. We're gonna wave at them. We're gonna air bump, fist bump, air hug, do all those things to keep ourselves safe, because we want to make sure that we are not being, not passing any germs around. This this coronavirus is something that we cannot see with the visible eye. So those masks, we want to make sure we have those masks on. We want to make sure that we are not sharing. This is a time where we have to be selfish, and we don't want to share food, snacks, drinks, not even the waterfall style. Is that what it's called? When you want, yeah, we're not even going to go with the waterfall style of drinking and sharing any personal items, because we got to make sure that we are staying safe. Do y'all want to say anything out there to your viewing audience? By the way, y'all look good up here on this stage. These girls are beautiful, and it takes a lot to get in front of the microphone. So I thank you. Do y'all want to say anything, to any parting words to your peers or just the community at large, to let them know anything before leaving?
Just to stay safe in general, and be careful.
Yes. Stay safe and be careful.
I don't have anything.
All right. Just keep that pretty smile going then. You don't have anything else to say? I want to say thank you so much to everybody who had an opportunity to join in and participate in this panel. Again, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties we had with the videos. I hope that you were able to see the rhythm and the excitement that the cheerleaders had as they were doing their cheers. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay. No. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I do want to say thank you to everyone because that you guys have worked so hard and you've taken time out of your busy schedules to join on what I call my dream team, our dream team for Mind Over Matter Mental Health Ministries, making sure that we're taking care of ourselves and doing our very best to look out for one another. When we talk about life and being in this together as a community, joining in and locking in and checking on one another, we need to do that. We are one when we reach out and we look for the best to make sure that we can promote that success for the students, the parents, the teachers, administrators, everybody in general. We want you all to know that we are here together, and teamwork makes the dream work. That's one of the things I say, and I think it's at the
Before
bottom
you
of
finish it up, Charmin,
yes.
I realized what was happening. So there were some technical difficulties with regards to the software that we're using and
Yes.
so I have posted all of the cheerleader videos on your Facebook page.
Awesome.
So anyone who wants to see those videos, they are beautiful. Our young people are amazing, and I want them to get that love.
Yes, thank you so much. And well, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and see if did Fernetta make it on tonight.
No, apparently there was a mix-up. There were people who were trying to watch the live stream that were given the studio, and they crowded out the folks, and so there was some mix-up there. They should have been watching it on Facebook or YouTube, but they were on the StreamYard. So she probably was trying to get in at that point.
Okay, well, no worries. She was going to close us out with some closing remarks. Sister Fernetta is one of my church family members in Fort Worth, Texas. I attend Greater Elysian Baptist Church, and I'm so thankful that my pastor supports the efforts that we're putting in to bring this ministry out to help each other know that our mental health matters. I want to encourage everyone to not sit back and be silent when anything is going on. You've got to speak up. If there's help that you need, get the help that you need. One of the things when I went to get some help, one of the things that the doctor shared with me that I needed to do, and I try to make sure that I do those things faithfully. It was 4 things the doctor told me that de-stressing, alleviating stress, eliminating stress from my life, to eat a healthy, balanced diet. Food is important, and there's an old saying, we are what we eat. So if we're eating a lot of junk food, then we're going to have a crappy body and a cranky body that's not going to work the best. And then to exercise, get some exercise at least 3 to 5 times out of the week. Getting that exercise in, even when you don't feel like it, get up and do it. My slogan this pandemic became get up, get out, get to moving. And so, and then the last thing was resting, getting enough rest. And that's one thing that my husband stays on me about, is getting enough rest. If we do those 4 things, eliminate stress, have a proper diet, get good exercise, and get enough rest, those things in itself will help our bodies to heal. So we want to say thank you all again for tuning in to our Mind Over Matter Mental Health and Wellness Back to School Pep Rally. We hope that you have been able to receive some positive feedback and some positive tips to help us to go into the school year with a healthy mindset, knowing that we are in this together and teamwork makes the dream work. I do want to say that we've had some wonderful supporters. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Pastor Hendricks, Elder Hendricks here at Greater Mount Zion. Thank you so much for allowing us to be able to film here, and also for the generous donation, you being a supporter to the ministry that we have. And then our sponsors, we have 2 sponsors, Daniel Griggs and Casey Simien. Daniel Griggs has a app that's out there. It's a mental health app, and yes, and it's called Vent Space, and it's an anonymous app that you can use, that if you're feeling any type of way and you need to reach out you can download that app and have it on your phone, and you can reach out and get the help that you need. It's lots of resources that are available that that we want you guys to tap into, and know that if you want the help, you've got to seek it out. And when you seek it out, you have to follow the steps that's being given to you to help you be successful. And my son, Casey Simien, he put together the flyer for us. He is a graphic designer. And so I want to thank him for sponsoring the flyers for us for this segment for round 3. We had a wonderful amount of people who financially provided a donation for our ministry, as well as lots of prayers. Prayers are powerful. And when they go up, when we pray and send the prayers up and believe that they will be answered, then God will move. And the last thing I want to say is don't don't suffer in silence. Don't fall asleep thinking that someone is going to read your mind. Speak so that your voice can be heard, and know that you have support groups that are out there for you. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, definitely reach out. I'm on Facebook. I have Facebook. You can inbox me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. This is something that we want to keep it going. And so the Mind Over Matter ministry, we will look to do something else at the end of the year. But we just want to say thank you to everybody who took part in this ministry and helped us to bring forth this pep rally. This is a young man here. Bend down for a little bit. He was our DJ and he played our music tonight. This is my nephew, and I just want to give a shout out to him. He became my personal assistant this week and helping me to get things wrapped up. So this is little Henry Bonner. He was doing it big on the mic for, or not the mic, but the DJ system for us. So again, we have to pull those youth in and love on the youth and let them know that we support them, and then put them to work. Help them to understand, hey, you've got to work in order to get things done. So use them effectively. Again, I want to say thank you to every panelist that participated. You guys were a dream team that really, really made this pep rally, virtual pep rally, a lot of fun. And I just want to welcome you or usher you all, or say, have a awesome start to this school year, and know that we're in this together, and that you will not be left out or be alone. Reach out and get the help that you need. It's all about teamwork. The teamwork is what makes the dream work for us. So thank you all for tuning in, and I hope that there was something said that will help you along your way.